So here we have it, game number 2 of this best of 3 now. It is going to be some tough times. Spawning up in the top left-hand position, the Red Terran player representing Team Acer. It's MMA. And his opponent over on the right, the Blue Zerg, playing for my insanity. None other than Sacsri. So, what is Sacsri going to be doing here? What is his plan? He's down a game. He has to win here if he wants a shot at that one remaining qualification place. If he loses this game, he cannot qualify in this qualifier at least for IEM Toronto. I don't know if he can't actually qualify at all. It may be that he can't actually. So that would be pretty bad times for him. And I am feeling for Sacsri at the moment. I've got to be honest. Last night in WCS EU Challenger, he went 2-0 up against 2-0 up against Bunny, and then Bunny brought it back to take it 3-2. That unfortunately meant for Sacsri that there was no chance of him getting to BlizzCon, and there was still before that. If he did well in EU Challenger, in EU Premier, there was a shot he could go to BlizzCon. So that's very, very unfortunate for Sacsri. MMA on the other hand, he's in a good footing right now. He's 1-0 up. As I realize I've got the scores the wrong way around, quickly adjust that. He's 1-0 up, and that's really good in a best of 3. He's now got a bit of confidence. That first game went well for him. Sacsri was quite greedy. Sacri's overall style of playing Zerg is quite interesting. I saw a lot of it, all 5 games of last night's Challenger. And the one consistent feature of it was he goes very Baneling heavy. It wasn't uncommon to see him making 16, 20 Banelings at a time and just trying to roll those in just to deal with the Protoss and deal with the Terran. And it worked, and whenever he was able to get those connections. But if the splitting was good, that's where you started getting into some serious issues. So, Reapers again going to be starting this out, but it's not proxied this time. Big shout out to Scrappy Doo, by the way, who updated us. The first Yoda is currently tied 1-1. That's in the winner bracket final. The winner of that next game will be advancing as the top qualifier. So important to note. MMA now expanding off the back of this. So he's playing for a very, very nice position. Reaper expanded standard. It's safe. Just the one Reaper coming across this time though. So slight alteration. Last game obviously we saw the 3 Reapers, but they were proxied as well. Waiting to see what more could be coming in here. Reaper just comes and checks in. Sees, yep, hatchery on its way down. And then runs back to safety. Otherwise, Sacsri, he's just doing normal stuff as well. We've got factory and that barracks coming through, so they should be switching on up. Good number of Hellions going to be coming through there. This is all really obvious stuff, but very little else to be said. Mutalisk style play from Sacsri. Obviously this map, if you glance at the mini-map, looks okay for Mutalisk. There is some dead space around here, but this fence around the side actually blocks air units. And of course, if you're blocking those air units up, you start running into problems, to be honest, because it's harder to get them through. It'll be interesting to see whether MMA does decide to go for the Banshee. He's already trying to harass with this one Reaper. So far, nobody's lost anything, which is always good. 0 damage coming through at the moment. And, well, still just normal stuff, normal openings. There is going to be the starport, so this is likely to go into Banshee now, I would imagine. Just waiting for the little switch around there, but no sign of a tech lab yet. May not be. Doesn't have to be, actually. But this barracks isn't doing anything, so interesting. One Overlord did get picked off. That supply block Sacsri for a little while, actually. All in all, he is actually getting quite a big supply block from that. That's really irritating. Tech Lab is now coming down, but the timing of this from MMA was a little bit off the mark. Can't switch that over identically, instantly. That means that a slight delay in the timing of that Banshee, if that's going to come out initially. No sign of the Viking in this game. That's what we saw last game, of course. Got those 4 Overlord kills early on in the match, and that really did give MMA a nice footing to go on through. And, well, double gases now coming down from Sacsri. That takes him up to 4 with this lair. This is quite a big commitment. Could be 2 base mutas potentially. And, well, just keeping an eye on everything else that is happening here at the moment. A couple of Marines just edging on forward. Still just keeping a close eye on what these Hellions are doing. If they're going to be able to find any way forward. Quick little move through. Do circumnavigate those queens, but blocking off of the final queen is going to be preventing it from doing too much else. Couple of shots coming through there. Down goes that creep tumor. That's not going to be able to achieve very much there. Otherwise, this is just all looking like a fairly normal game for the most part. Roach Run in a pretty good position. The wall off of the front really just doing everything that it needs to buy more time. Still checking for anything else. Got a couple more head-ins. Backing their way through. They're not committing too much. The Overlord will be keeping a check on what's coming through here. Sees the head-ins there. Sees a couple of Marines, but that's nothing too scary overall. Third CC in a nice little position. And, well, with Cloak coming through for Banshees, this is going to get into a bit more attempt at poking and prodding. Is there any Spore Callers yet? No, there isn't. So, still keeping a check on if and when those Spore Callers could be coming on through. And Hellions going to be going for the third. Sacsri is really late on this third base at the moment. So, this is just a little bit irritating, a little bit annoying. And while it stays this way, Sacsri has to stay back. He's adding in a lot more roaches, actually. And this is with 1-1. So, 1-1 is coming through. Is there a Baneling nest? No. So, it's not going to be a Roach Bane play. This is just purely Baneling busting at the moment. Sorry, Roach busting at the moment. Sacsri is delaying a third base. There's no third trying to come down. How many Banshee are there? There's 2. How many roaches have been seen? Okay, 4 roaches are here at the moment. This shouldn't be enough to give you away. That's quite a normal amount to be seeing anyway. But MMA is definitely in a very solid position at the moment. Hydra Den coming down from Sacsri, so he's actually going into Roach Hydra. It's not even going to be just a Roach bust from that. It would be hitting very, very late. I'm not sure if he's reading into this that this is mech. What has Sacsri seen? Taking a quick little look at his vision. So he hasn't actually seen very much in the main base. These 2 Banshee, taking a bit of a beating but staying alive. That's the important thing. All while they're up, they can continue on the harassment. Of course, 2 Banshee, 1 volley kill. And this air fence doing a lot of work preventing those Banshee from getting away. They're trying to hide in a corner. Realizing that their life is limited. The Queen coming on over to intercept. Both these Banshee are going to die. And that's a good pick off there for Sacsri. Alleviates quite a bit of the pressure that was on him. The Roaches now getting ready to come on through. Trying to barrel their way in. Without the Banshee there, it's going to be a lot harder to try and defend this. The tank is just hitting the field now. That buys some more time. Third base going to try and get taken. Not going to come down though. Or at least the bunker isn't. Quick raise on that ramp, but the Roach is still being a little bit irritating. The bunker's up. That one tank trying to get in a good siege position. Also wants to cover as much of that third base as possible. And it's actually being forced to pull back. He's got the Spire coming down behind this. So it's going to be looking to transition into a normal Mutalist style strategy. Also getting the +1 down. Was the Hydra Den cancelled? Yes, it was. Okay, so I was going to say, Roach Rider would have been very strange when it is... If it was against mech, that would be perfectly normal, but it does mean that the one attack up or missile attack upgrade isn't going to be too beneficial long-term for Sacsri once these roaches are taken down. Double drop now for MMA, and MMA has actually come off a little bit worse here overall. He's taken a bit more of a beating, but nothing too insane. Still, quick little move in by 1 lone Marine here. Taking out creep tumors as they spread. Double drop is on its way through though, and this is in the natural base. A lot of roaches are coming back to defend this, and this should scare back MMA. He doesn't want to take that trade. It wouldn't go well for him. There's just too many roaches there to trade effectively. Now, 1-1 is finished for MMA, but note he has no armory at the moment, so he can't actually start up 2-2 for his infantry. But he does have a good economic standing overall. 66 drones to 66 SCVs. Oh, these 2 medevacs are actually in a bit of a rough spot. The Mutalists will be able to chase him down. So these are 2 dead medevacs full of units. That really, really hurts. Massively hurts. And Sacsri's gaining momentum from this. Pushing on through. Takes down the tank. And there is 2 more tanks up on that high ground, which will help. But they don't cover the entire third base. The bunker's dealing out a lot of damage. There's 4 Marines in each of those. But the Roach is being forced back. The tank going down was a nice pickoff. Sacsri didn't trade amazingly there, but he's still about 1,000 resources up overall in that loss, thanks to those 2 medevacs getting picked off. Armory now coming through for MMA. That's going to allow him to start the 2-2 upgrades. But still, normal early game. This isn't by any way crazy stuff. Just trying to keep a solid check on where these 2 are going with it. A couple of missile turrets coming down for MMA. Using the Sense Tower again, and I love Sense Towers. I think they're just such an underappreciated structure that just gives you so much advance warning of the move through from these mutas. Especially on this map. There's only like this tiny little area that the Mutalisks could actually go through without being detected. A couple of Hellions going for a little run round. Sacsri, of course, with that 4th base, is in an okay spot. Quick little check by the mutas, seeing if they can move in. They're not going to be able to. The 4th being discovered. The Queen should be able to stop this Hellion from doing too much. And if it couldn't, Lings were coming on back as well, as were all the Roaches. Got a good number of Banelings here, actually. 12 more Banelings morphing in. It's the 19 Mutalisk count, though, that's looking quite good for Sacsri. Going to be wanting to try and utilize that as best as possible. Attempting to pick off that bunker, but unable to do so. The SCV able to stay alive for the time being. So this is where we get into a real positional point of the game. Who's able to deny the 4th is really the big game right now, or take out the 4th or deny the 5th. But to be honest, it's Sacsri who's got a nice footing. He's upper base, which is where he wants to be. MMA approaching maxed out, but Sacsri already there. Sacsri gearing up for a big push. He's got a lot of Banelings morphing in. Going to be running in for this 3rd. Takes out the bunker early. Already some Banelings going for a little hit score, trying to take out some of those SCVs. The Marine count up at 54. Where are those 5 tanks? I can see 5 of them, apparently. I can see 4 of them. Where's the 5th? I'm not quite sure. Thor up on the high ground is in a nice position too. And Sacsri being forced back from this. He has got the +2 melee attack upgrade coming through. He's also got +2 carapace already finished. MMA a little bit behind in those upgrades. 2-2 is not quite done yet. Sacsri gearing up for another attempt. This sensor tower just gives so much information, though. Doing a lot. Mutalisks trying to find a way through. They should be able to deny this 4th base pretty substantially, so this is good news for Sacsri. We've also got the Hive on its way out now for our Zerg player. Oh, big Thor hits. Need to be careful of that. Thor hits can quickly take down a Mutalisk flock. The good thing about these mutas is they do have +1 up against only the 1-1 Marines at the moment. 2-2 has just kicked in for them, so they need to be a bit more careful, but 3-3, that's where you've got to be very cautious with the Marines and the Mutalisks. Little drop coming down, discovering the attempt at a 5th base from Sacsri, or 5th or 6th. Sacsri doesn't get the cancel on that, but does have another base down to the lower right, although a Hellion has been able to see that. A couple of Overlords getting pushed down, and MMA, as he's maxed, is starting to move across the map. Aiming more forward, pushing into this, wants to get a couple of nice shots off. Oh, the Banelings have to be very, very cautious here. There's a good number of Widow Mines, and those siege tanks already start splashing onto them. The infantry count not that high, only 37 Marines. Overall army supply is favouring MMA though. He's down in the drone count. And the other thing we saw from Sacsri's play last night in Challenger was he was staying, in the games he won against Bunny, he stayed very high in the drone count, like 80, 90-ish. But he just was constantly trading. He never allowed Bunny to get maxed out. MMA has maxed out, and that's what's challenging Sacsri, because he knows his drone count is really high. It's 15 ahead of his opponent. So even when they're both maxed, MMA has a higher army supply. That in itself is a problem. Sacri's also really starved of gas. That's a big problem for him. He needs to get that 5th base of gas up. He needs 10 gas geysers running as soon as possible, because he's looking to go into Hive Tech. Well, he's in Hive Tech already. He's got the 3-3 coming through. May look for some Ultralisks. Potentially, although there's a lot of tanks there, and the Marauder count isn't particularly low. He just needs to flank from all directions, and that's what Sacri's preparing for. He's got, obviously, some Banelings up here. His Baneling count is up at 52. And here he goes. Sacsri needs to get an annihilation here in the trading. Coming from all angles is the best way to go for it. The Marines don't really have anywhere that they can split to, but somehow MMA finds a way to go. Good trade there for MMA. He takes out a lot of those Banelings, takes a decent beating, but he's up overall in supply at the moment. Up by 25 army supply and is moving forward, dropping in towards, or wanting to drop into the 4th. Sees a lot of spines there, decides against that move. Will drop onto the high ground, has a tank in a good position. MMA is going to struggle in defending the Mutalisks, though. They're pushing through. 2 spines are taken down. Missile try getting a couple of shots off, but this Orbital Command just decides, nope, can't do that. Marines frantically trying to come back. They are only 2-2 Marines. 3-3 hasn't been done. Meanwhile, in the center, Sacsri pushing in with some of those Banelings, trying to get some good connections. Takes out a couple of the tanks. Only 1 remains. That's getting some good shots down. Banelings clearing out a lot, but it costs Sacsri a huge amount of gas to do that. And there's still units pushing in here. The Link should be able to prevent that from doing too much further. Now, this is where Sacsri is a bit more confident. He's at 5 bases. He's still got around that 80 drone mark, and he's got momentum. The Mutalisk Flock up at 19 is trading quite well. 3-3 isn't done yet for the Marines. And as long as Sacsri keeps trading and doesn't allow MMA to max out, that's where the superior economy is going to be very strong for him. MMA attempting to float down another base, take a 5th here. That isn't what Sacsri wants. Sacsri will have to try and stop that. For the moment, Sacsri still down just a little in the army supply because of the much higher drone count, and his baneling count is also low. Morphing in a couple, but they're being forced to cancel. A couple will pop out, but it's literally 3. MMA is pushing forward right now. MMA can get a lot done here. The Ultralisks are a long way off still. 6 of them are rating to pop. That is a big investment for Sacsri. If he can get them, he'll be good. Doesn't have any infestors to fungal growth, though, and that could be causing a problem. Edging forward, the Ultralisks nom-nomming their way through, trying to close up this distance as best that they can. Heading off against some of these Marines nicely. Banelings closing up the gap as well. Getting closer, getting a bit more solid. MMA forced to retreat. His army supply now dropping frantically. The medevac count really falling as these Ultras start pushing forward. And this is where the momentum is swing back into Sacsri's favor. If he's able to use these Ultras well, while there really isn't much in the way of Marauders, it can be very strong. The 3rd base of MMA is supported by some bunkers, but that's not going to help too much up against these 3-5 Ultralisks. The Marauders are doing a good job, though. The Marines trying to get off as many shots as they can, but they just tickle up against the 6 armor of those Ultras there. So, needs to be very, very careful on this. MMA, of course, is up at 5 bases. A Planetary Fortress at the 4th and 5th. Mule hammering that 5th base. MMA is down in the worker count, but Sacsri actually lower than he maybe wants to be at this stage. He does like staying up very high in the drone count in the ZVT we've seen him play recently. So, just pumping out more Ultras at the moment. He's got a decent amount of gas, but lacking on the mineral front. Where's he mining? Okay, so has got a decent amount of mineral income overall. Sacsri attempting to take out this 5th. Does do a little bit of damage, but not too much. Overall, the worker kill count not actually that high for such a long game. 3rd, though, that's taking a lot more damage. The Ultra's coming in there with some baneling support, forcing a lift. MMA will lose a couple more workers overall. 75 to 46. MMA does have the mules to help him. Glad to see pathogen glands coming through. That's really going to be helping things for Sacsri if he wants to close up the gap to that infantry. Locking it down, allowing those banelings and Ultras to get up close and personal would be very, very important. Sacsri now level on the army supply count for a long time, but massively ahead in the worker count. MMA staying proactive out on the map. He's got 3-3 with the 2-1 vehicle and ship upgrades. Sacsri on the other hand, 3-3 plus 3 attack for these Mutalisks as well. So they're dealing a lot of damage. They can duke it out with missile turrets pretty happily. The Mutalisk Flock is also up at 12, so not hugely high, but still a decent commitment there. A couple of Marines trying to trade. They're not going to do very well without any medevac support. But still, the move forward, it is a coming. Quick little check. Still waiting to see where MMA decides to go. There's just a big army here for Sacsri. Sacsri's got 25 banelings and 11 Ultras. It's going to be so tough for MMA to deal with this. He is up at 23 Marauders, though. I'm not sure if they're all over this army. I don't think they are. Now making it more tough. There's also a couple of infestors out now with the energy to fungal growth. If they get some good fungals, the banelings, the 18 banelings can do huge amounts of work. But only if the fungals are really good or MMA slacks a bit on the splits. Widowmine hit goes on through. Sacsri ready to go for this. He is moving forward now. The fungals, I know we've seen a big group of units down to the south. A couple of the top getting fungaled as well. That's the fungal hits that Sacsri was looking for. The Ultras able to close up the distance, nomming their way through with their big bear hugs. And MMA's army will fall. Sacsri has still got momentum. He lost 2 Ultras there, a couple on red health. But the Mutalisks stay up. 15 more coming on through. They are 3-0 Mutalisks too. This is a very, very strong position. The 5th base of MMA is finding the might of the Ultras. The repair will not be enough. A couple more Ultralisks did die, but at the cost of a 5th. That is a good takedown. MMA is struggling at this stage. Sacsri really gaining momentum at the... Well, we're 27, nearly 28 minutes into this game. Big Widowmine hit, though. That Widowmine, bit of a hero overall. Yeah, this is still... Oh, that one got an infestor as well. That's really nice. Okay, so MMA. Stock check. He's down by about 100 supply. Just under. Not all of that is army supply. Army supply is still around half. That hurts. but at least it's not all army supply. His work count is very low, so MMA's broke at this stage. Sacsri, still with the 70-70 drones, has a good income. Pushing forward now, wraps the Lings around, trying to prevent the stutter step away. The Ultralisk closing up the distance, the Mutalisk dishing out a lot more damage. MMA down to under a third, and GG is called. Sacsri levels out this series to be 1-1, and that means we're going to be going to the ace game.